Hi guys, Chris here and Vera with the A20 e-bike. So this is an e-bike with a claimed range of up to 80 kilometers. It has a rear hub motor which is 350 watts, foldable design like the other e-bikes I've reviewed in the channel. So it can go up to 25 kilometers per hour or up to 35 if you unlock the speed limit on it, which I will show you in this video. And we've got a USB charger here as well if you need that. The display is quite clear and great on this model here, and it has a 7-speed set of Shimano gears with this. So in this in-depth review I'll be going for my usual tests with this, and that will be a range test, riding comfort, go over the design, the build quality, the components they have used in it, and then of course my pros and cons at the end and my overall opinion of the A20 e-bike here. A20 comes in a medium-sized box. It has a lot of padding around it, but my box was quite beat up and a little bit of damage to it, and that did add to a few marks on the bike. Now, some minor assembly is required. You do have to screw in the handlebars and attach the kickstand. It is quite easy to do, and you need about a spare 15 minutes or so to set it up. The A20 has the removable battery, so with the battery inside it, the total weight is about 24 kilos. And when you take it out, then it is around 19 kilos there. So the battery does add a bit of weight, of course. So it does come with the mudguards pre-installed on this particular model here. Now the rims, they're 20 inches. The tires are 1.95 inches wide. The tread pattern used is more of an off-road or cross-country tread and not really for road use, but that's what we have. They're not even brand tires that are included with this bike. Other manufacturers use Kinder, for example. And we do get these no brand shocks with this. So the travel on these ones are about 2 inches maximum. And I did manage to bottom it out where the wheel touched the mudguard, which wasn't too good going down a curb. So I just press down here lightly and you can see there is a bit of travel, and it's better than having, well, no shocks. So it's great it does have these. So our crank here at the front does have a chain guard plastic that is around it. We've got a KMC branded chain, and the pedals, they fold just like the rest of the bike. So if you push them in, you can then push them down like so, just to take up a little less room. And then with our gears, Shimano brand, like most of the e-bikes, have the 7 gears we've got right here, and it's okay. The changes seem pretty smooth on this one. I did have to adjust it a little bit because the derailleur here was knocked around a little bit in transit. And inside the rear hub here, we have our motor. So this one is 350 watts, 36 volts. Like the other e-bikes I've reviewed in the channel, we've got our lock right here with the battery, so it can be locked into place. You can take it out to charge it, of course, or just leave it in the bike. So there's the key here, and of course I do need to take the spare off. Now this latch mechanism here is quite strong, very good welds, and there are a few rough edges with the paint job that I have noticed, and more noticeable with the white version right here. So undoing it, we've got this little security at the top, just to make sure that this never comes out, not that it should, and you simply just pull that, and then the bike can bend in half to fold it. Same story then for the handlebar. So there's a security in place to make sure that this never pops out, which is great. So that's just plastic, and you push it in there to the gap to make sure that's not going to happen. So pulling down on this lever, then the handlebars can also be dropped down if you need to get it into a tight space or into the boot of a car or something. The A20 has a front headlight with 4 LEDs in it, and turning it on, it is rather bright, and here's a sample of it in low light here at night time. It's enough to light up the path ahead of you. Both the rear and front disc brakes are 160 millimeters. These are mechanical adjustable brakes, and I'll do a performance test of them later on in this video. And it does come with this kickstand, so you need to just install this yourself because it's strapped separately inside the box. It is sturdy, and the bike has not fallen over using this kickstand. Adjustable height seat. Now this does have a reflector on the rear, so no rear LED light, which would have been nice. It does have a spring, a shock inside it, and that gives us a little bit of dampening, which is good, making the ride a little more comfortable. Handlebars, these are also adjustable, so you can put the height right up if you wanted to do so, if it was more comfortable for you like that. And at my height of 186 centimeters, I've had no issues with this bike. You can drop the seat right down for short people, and it goes up really nice and high for the tall ones out there. The seat is well padded, so there is a good about 2 centimeters or so of padding. And in my time riding around on it now, doing about 20 kilometers that I've done so far, it has been comfortable, and I'm not getting any chafing, any rubbing. So we don't have a super wide handlebar with this one. Now we've got these grips on either side that aren't too bad. They're not moving about by themselves. They're certainly not lock grips. So here we have the control for the light. There's our horn here just below. I'll give you a sample of that it's rather loud. Very loud, in fact. And there are assist modes, so up and down for that, the power on and to cycle through the odometer, trip meter, and voltage, and time riding. And here we have the gear shifter there, which is the Shimano 7-gear shifter that I've seen before on other e-bikes. And the A20 does fold up into this very compact size. So the seat is right down, the handlebars folded down, and I could even fold those pedals in to allow this to fit in the trunk or a boot of a car a lot easier, and you can stow this away, which is quite convenient. So overall, the build quality of the frame is good. The welds, it certainly seems well made and solid. The paint job and finish, however, there are a few little rough patches around on the shocks too. There are a few marks from transit, so I wouldn't rate it as grade A when it comes to the finish of it. But overall, for the price, I don't think it's too bad, but certainly some components do seem and look a little cheap and have a bit of a cheap feel to them, like the mudguards, for example. So let's see how it goes here. Just a gentle ride ahead. Now, the assist modes are really kind of strange because I've got it on level 3. Now, level 3 doesn't seem to do anything, or level 2, and it's level 1 that's giving me the pedal assist. Once it detects that I'm pedaling, it is giving me that assistance, but the trigger doesn't work at all. It doesn't do anything on level 1. And then changing that now to level 2, I can use the trigger and then go ahead up to 25 kilometers per hour, but pedaling now, it's not giving me any pedal assist on modes 2 and 3. Now, I don't know whether I've got a bug with my unit or it's just meant to be like that the way it's set up. Now test to see how it's going to handle rocky terrain. So this is just some gravel, some rough road with some stones up ahead, and the suspension does clank around a bit, make a little bit of noise. You can hear that as I ride, which is slightly annoying, but still I'd rather have the suspension on it, even though it's only got about 2 inches of travel, which is not really a lot. It's better than nothing. Like other bikes I test out, like the Fiido D11, I've tested in the channel, and the D4S, no suspension whatsoever. So this is actually quite a bit more comfortable with the suspension, and then the seat post also does take up a few of those bumps. And now it is very bumpy along here, so this is some pavers that are very rough, up and down all over the place. And again, suspension noise, but it's not doing too bad. Very comfortable. I've got it on the assist mode level 1, and it's very easy to pedal along here. I'm not really even working up a sweat or anything. So time now to have a look at the top speed on this. So what I'll do is I'll remove the speed limit. It's 25 that it's set with out of the factory. So if you hold down the plus and minus here for about 3 seconds, you need to get into the menu that's called P8. So you just hit the power button here to cycle through them. So P8, it would be set to 25. Now I have changed this to 35, so that will then be my top speed. So here we go, just pinning a little bit to help it. I'm just about to hit, there we go, 25, 26, 27, 31, 32, 33, and I'm running out of road here, 34, and it should just make 35 there. So what about straight moped mode climbing, which is what I'm going to use now. So I'll pull on the trigger, I'm in mode SS2, but I will put it into 3, and we'll see if it's going to have enough oomph from that 350 watt motor to be able to actually get up this small little climb, which is approximately 25 to 30 degrees. So I need to pedal off a little bit first, otherwise the trigger's not going to do anything. I'm holding it down maximum. So start pedaling, and I can hear and feel that motor suddenly just kick in, and away we go. So I'll stop pedaling just to see how it is going to fare. And we're only at 12, 10, and dropping. So really struggling with this climb with my 80 kilos. Now if I start pedaling, however, I'm gaining speed. So pedaling now. So you will definitely need to pedal if you're going to be going up big climbs and use that accelerator. You need to help this motor because it's not powerful enough just to take me up a climb like this without any pedaling. Okay, so time now for a brake test. So what I'm going to do is power ahead and then do a full-on emergency brake, testing out the mechanical brakes. This has disc brakes, of course. So up to 30, and when I hit the post here, well, not hit it, 1, 2, 3. Whoa, the suspension bottomed out on the front and hit the mudguard. That was that noise. Okay braking, definitely not as good as the 4-pot hydraulic brakes I have on my Trek. So I'm just coming up to the end now of the coast. This is in the Mediterranean coast here of Spain, a place called Denia, Las Rotas. And so far it has been an uneventful ride, been quite comfortable, but not too happy about that front shock bottoming out under heavy braking, or if you go down a curb it will bottom out and hit the mudguard, which is not exactly brilliant. Okay, so what about the range now of it? Now, I've been able to achieve 26 kilometers and I have 2 bars left. It's showing 3, but really it's about 2 when I'm riding around. So that is about 50 kilometers approximately, riding with the assist mode level 1. And as I mentioned before, that using the assist mode level 2 or 3 doesn't seem to work with the pedal assist, but I can use the trigger there. And I used a bit of that and I went up some climbs. So ideally, you're looking at a range, I calculate worst case scenario about 35 kilometers, up to then maybe about 60 kilometers, which is still short of their 80 claim. But I do weigh 80 kilos, and they're probably using a rider that's about 50 kilos, and of course they ride on the flat, so that's why there's this big difference. And it happens over all of the e-bikes. So let's go over the frame. The frame quality, the welds are good. There is a little bit of imperfections that I'm seeing, a few little things with the paint job. Now the seat height can go right up. I'm not quite at the maximum altitude, but height, I mean. So that is the maximum height there, and it's quite high. The handlebars can go up to a good height, so this caters for pretty much all riders out there, which is really good, and it goes down very, very low. And as I showed you before, that it is foldable, it's very quick and easy to do. So you simply open that up, and then you can bend that right around, and then I can just put the handlebars down too. So that is why you would go for one of these bikes instead of, say, a normal one, is the space saving. If you need to put it under a stairwell or something like that, you can do it, of course, with this bike. Now the quality of the components used, pretty average. The pedal is squeaking, one of them, the one on the right. So I would change those pedals. Of course, it's a standard, so you can easily swap that out. You don't have to go with foldable pedals. You can put some normal solid ones on, or even some alloy pedals will probably be better. The Shimano 7-speed is good. Changes have been smooth and really no problems after I had to do an initial first alignment of them because it was whacked around a little bit in the box. Now the mudguards, they're kind of cheapish, and definitely the front shock is one of the cons of this bike. I find the front shock to be a little cheap, personally. It does have a little bit of travel, and almost too much travel too, that when I go down a curb it will bottom out, and I have the tire striking the inner of the mudguard here, and that makes a noise, and I don't particularly like that happening at all. And if you do heavy braking, that will also happen. So the disc brakes, after a little bit of adjustment to them, they're not bad for mechanical discs. Now they've got pads on there that'll eventually wear out, so you do need to change them. All up, I think for the price it sells for, which is cheaper than the competition, cheaper than say the Fiido D4S or the D11, it is a decent bike, but don't expect it to be absolutely amazing. It's not a top quality build. The battery life I would rate as average with the range that I just mentioned before you're able to achieve and get out of this. But the positives are it does have the 350 watt motor. It does have the 35 kilometers per hour speed limit once you remove that cap, which is another good thing there about it. You can charge USB devices. And another positive, I really do like the display on this one, that it is very, very clear even in direct sunlight. So there you go. Hopefully you know all that you really need to know about the ADO A20 foldable e-bike here. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you did like it, please do give a thumbs up, subscribe for more. It really does help out so more manufacturers can send me more e-bikes so I can give my honest opinion of them to you guys out there.